Hey, this is Nandi with the Code Name Sister Podcast. I am back at you again today. I want to talk about business matters. And recently, I shipped out an order of cocoa butter, and the customer I sent it to sent me an email, and her email read, "I received my order today and I was a little disappointed. The cocoa butter I ordered did not look like what I ordered online. I was looking for smaller chunks to help with fast melting so that I don't have to do so much cutting, and your listing shows smaller cube chunks almost like squares, see above." And she provided a photo from my website. My company is Nandi's Naturals. For those who don't know, I have a bath and body company. You can view it online at www.nandisnaturals.com. Type it into your search engine. Check us out. Shop us. We got deodorants that will change your mind about natural deodorant. Back to what she was saying. The email. She ended it with, "The package I received was 4 large pieces in a Ziploc bag. Your listing is grossly misrepresented." And you know what I did when I read that? I took my slap on the wrist because I had been putting off changing the photo for months when I decided that I would no longer carry the cocoa butter cubes. The cubes are something that I did as, I guess you can say, a labor of love, because for one, it did make it easier for them to use when they're making products. They could just take those cubes and, if anything, maybe cut it into half or into 4 quarters and use it that way. But the thing about it is, it took a lot of extra work for me to make the cube because it didn't come to me that way. When it comes to me, it's in a big solid block. So I would take it down and melt it down and place it into trays that were cube shaped. So that's what she was referring to. So I left the photo up there because I said, well, you know what? I may decide to do the cubes again. And what I had done for the longest was I sold cubes and I sold chunks. And the cubes I charged a little bit more for because, like I said, it cost me more in terms of labor, because your labor is also money when you're in business. And the chunks, I could just take them and hit them with a mallet and a little knife or whatever, and break it up into chunks, and it was ready to go. And when when business got as busy as it is for us, like I said, those little labor of loves that sometimes you can do, excuse me, you don't have as much time to do anymore. And you don't want to get it to the point where it's more like labor, not no love, just labor. So anytime I start noticing that there's something that I'm not enjoying as much anymore about certain aspects of my business, I evaluate it and decide whether it's something that I'm going to keep or if it's safe to discard it. So I had recently, I'd say maybe about 2 or 3 months ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to continue selling the chunks, but I'm not going to do the cubes anymore because it does take too much time. And with how busy we are, I really don't have the time for it. But again, I did not take the picture off the site and change it to one that reflected the only thing I was now carrying. And so I sent her an email of apology, and I also refunded her what she paid for her entire order. And, of course, she's like, "Oh, that's okay. You don't have to do that." But I did have to do that. And we should do those kind of things when we don't give people what it is they asked for and what they paid for. She paid for cubes. She did not get cubes. So she didn't owe me any money. And for me, I basically, giving her her money back was like, that was the lesson in it for me. So it was worth giving her her money back, because that taught me a lesson. It taught me to be on time, and that even sometimes when you think you own your game, you can be caught slipping. So I'm grateful that she corrected me, I didn't have any attitude about it or anything because, that's how we operate. And that's how more of us should operate in business if we're not already doing that. When you take care of your people, of your customers, your clients, they are more likely to come back to you. They're more likely to refer other people to you. To be ugly to her, to tell her, well, you still got shaved with cocoa butter or whatever craziness that somebody might be able to dream up to try to make a wrong right, to lose her could also in essence be losing anyone that she may have referred to you. So why not do the right thing? It's not going to hurt you, and if it does, then you might want to reevaluate that whole, your business structure and whether you're making enough money and what you're doing, because a lot of times we're so in a rush to be in business that we price ourselves in ways that we can't take the loss because we are already charging we're at the lowest price point. And I see that in a lot of the younger businesses that are coming up now that are selling, bath and body products. And that's why some of them probably won't be around for long because they're already at bottom dollar. And since I know that some of them don't even have access to the quantities that I have access to, they are not making any profit. And they're probably not even including their labor into everything. Their labor, utilities, equipment, all of those things are money. And when you don't account for that stuff, it's just like you basically just created a job for yourself. You're not running a business, you've created a job. So, like I said, I was grateful that she reached out to me, that she didn't give me the silent treatment. And I call the silent treatment is when a customer doesn't return. When they don't come back and buy anything from you anymore. They don't tell you they're dissatisfied, but they do in a way because you don't hear from them again. They don't become a return customer. And I like for my people to come back. I like for them to come back over and over, and that's why my door is always open to them. They can always send me an email. They can give me a phone call if they've got any questions about our products, how they work, how best to apply them and use them. We're always available for stuff like that. We don't ignore our customers. And right on the heels of that email that I got, and like I said, I resolved that situation as quickly as possible. As soon as I got back to my desk, I sat there and I refunded the cost of her order. Didn't even think twice about it. Did not hurt me in any way. My bottom line is good. Okay? So, but right after I responded to her email, another customer sent me an email thanking me for, something that we had did for her. So it was like, for me, the scales just balanced out. And it felt good hearing from, getting that feedback from that customer, even ending on a high note with the customer that I called because when I received her email about the cocoa butter, I didn't send her an email back. I personally called her. I love to talk to people when there's a problem with my company. Because when there's a problem with my company, there's a problem with me as the owner of that company. So I called her and personally resolved that, and I made sure that by the time we got off the phone that she was good. And so when I refunded her, I felt good doing that because I knew it was the right thing to do. Of all the things that I may have, missed in childhood, like the little gaps or whatever, the one thing my mom always taught us was to be honest with people, to be able to admit when you're wrong, and to whatever degree you can resolve the issue or make it right, do that. And so that's something that I've always been committed to. That has always fared me well, for the most part. I'll say for the most part, that has fared well for me in business and in some personal relationships. But I just wanted to put that out there for a lot of our business owners, especially some of our younger ones that are coming up. Don't always be quick to be right. And sometimes even when you right, go ahead and take that L. It's, because it does more for you than you think it does sometimes. And also take a look at what you're charging for your products, because again, a lot of times that's why we get the attitudes from some of our businesses that we get that attitude because they're already not charging enough. So if you selling, say, I don't know, soap or something, especially soap, if you're selling soap to someone and you're using good ingredients, especially like essential oils and some of the more expensive carrier oils like jojoba, rose hip, and all that stuff. Uh, y'all don't let me see y'all with no bars of soap costing $4, $4 and $5, because it is no way that if you just starting out and you selling somebody a bar of soap for $4 or $5 and you using all those different types of oils, you're not making your money back. I don't see how you're doing it. If you're doing it, let me know, because that means you should be teaching a class on this. And I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this to tell you to get paid what you're worth. And your customers will actually respect you for that, because they'll feel like you're not cutting the corners that somebody's doing who is making just enough to replace some money that they might need again for bills or whatever. Because that's what some people do. I don't know why they consider that a profit. That's not a profit. Or as fast as the money coming in, they figure if they charge so little, the least amount for it, that they'll get more people buying things and that'll keep them money coming in. But you got to look at the fact that you also buying products, again, your labor, your utilities, your equipment, even your trips to the post office if they're not picking the packages up from your home. But it just is so many other things involved in running your licensing, if you're incorporated, tax preparation, all of those things are business expenses. So if you're not pricing so that you have that cushion in there, then that bottom line is just not there, and you're cheating yourself, and eventually you're going to become resentful of that. So this is the time when you're young at it to make sure that your pricing strategies are correct and are aligned in a way that you can at some point begin to realize a profit. Don't make it a failing entity from the very beginning. Do what it takes and treat your customers like family, like they matter, with compassion, with empathy, with understanding. Always let you know what the problem is before you start to talk, before you start to throw out what you think is this and what you think is that. And you'll see it'll go a long way for you. This is Nandi. That's my advice for you. And I'll tell y'all again, you can go check out my Bath and Body site. Company is Nandi's Naturals. That is nandisnaturals.com. So y'all, this is Nandi with the Code Name Sister Podcast. Y'all know I got all kind of passions. And that's what I said I was going to do. I said starting this year, when this whole pandemic thing started, I said I am going to go back to my passions, and I'm going to do those things that I'm passionate about, and those things that I had on my bucket list. And a podcast was one of those things that was on my bucket list. And I'm actually starting to enjoy it, especially since I got my new mic. I like this new mic. I can hear myself talk, and it's not like talking to myself. I know I probably said that in another episode, but still, the point is I can do that now. So I'm enjoying my 2020 in that aspect. I'm going to enjoy my 2021 in that aspect, okay? And I want y'all to do the same thing. Find you your little piece of the pie and, sit there and nibble on it. This is, again, Nandi with the Code Name Sister Podcast. Y'all like, subscribe, review my podcast. All the major players, I done told y'all what they are: Apple, Google, Spotify, Podchaser, Captivate. I could just go on and on, but y'all know what they are. You know what you listen to your podcast on. You can find me there. Thank y'all for listening. You've just listened to the Code Name Sister Podcast with Nandi.